really cool.
Bonjour, hello, and welcome to the Rosbiff Rugby Podcast, your one-stop shop for all things French rugby, the top 14, Pro Day de National, the Champions and Challenge Cups, the French national team Les Bleus, and most importantly of all, the brilliant towns, cities, bars, restaurants, fan stadia, everything that makes the French rugby experience the thing we know and love. Rob, that is a Stade Francais cap, but looking slightly less electric pink on well, I guess it's early. The
Maybe it's the lighting.
Isn't
Yeah.
quite as, I was like, what's that nice like red cap Rob's got on? But you've gone for Stad today. Any thinking behind that? There's usually some sort of motive behind these things.
Well, I've also got one of my newer Po t-shirts, but obviously with the quiz, with the second round of a Tour de France adjacent quiz, which obviously finishes in Paris. So
very good.
There we go. It's loosely might be a clue for maybe a question or two in the quiz.
Oh, wow.
Who knows?
How exciting! How was your weekend? What's news from deepest darkest South London?
Yeah, it was very, very good. It was my anniversary with my girlfriend, so did some nice romantic things like go to a beer festival in Southwark Park. saw a Union Bordeaux Burglar shirt at the beer festival. He wasn't French. So interesting bit of stash. I don't know if didn't come up to me. Obviously didn't recognise me. Wasn't a fan.
Very good. And you said you had the kind of the wonders / perils of wearing the odd bit of French rugby kit. You had another sort of interaction with someone around a bit of Angoulême kit. Is that correct?
Yeah, someone who works in the beer trade came up to me singing "Essay Cans Allez Allez Allez" from behind as well. Obviously, well, I was wearing my cap, so backwards say. But yeah, he was from Angoulême.
Fantastic.
And he works in the beer trade. I was like, oh, there's a good brewery near there. One of the bigger like craft breweries is in Angoulême. I don't think we've not been, but quite often I see their cans. Like, oh yeah, they're the one from Angoulême.
Ah, nice.
But yeah, obviously watched after that when finished up at around 10ish. Watched Le Crunch.
Yeah, not
two.
the crunch we wanted.
Although quite a lot of echoes of Le Crunch from March. I feel kind of the madcap end to end, and then but the reverse. I feel like Bellingham is our Ramos. You know, the kind of the inevitable he'll score the winner sort of type thing. How about your weekend?
Yeah, all far more quiet than that. Pretty uneventful, but yeah, fun nonetheless. Caught a little bit of the various rugby games over the weekend. Enjoyed in particularly the what was effectively just the game of people trying to kick each other, England Argentina at 9 p.m. or whatever it was on Saturday night. That was quite good value.
I've not seen any of that, but I'm quite intrigued by just a niggle of it all.
It was, you know what, I thought it was, a lot of people kind of, it was low quality, all this. There's something about that, like Argentina, and I don't know if it's just as an England fan, but that like 9 p.m, 10 p.m. slot, they tend to, they go out to a load of grounds. Actually some amazing footage of some of the asados outside the grounds. It's very, very cool. And obviously just to layer in that bit of additional niggle with what happened in the football, then the Maradona
kick.
I've got to be honest, I think that, I don't know, because it's basically the same, but I always think that iconic Maradona kit is an absolute worldie. But I love the Argentina shirt so much. The like pale blue and white. I was like, what's this? And before I'd clocked that they were just there kind of trying to rub the noses in the dirt. But yeah, it was a lot of fun.
Everyone wants to know, Richard, did you watch the World Cup final? And you know, you're a man of considered takes and of culture. How did you find the halftime show in the World Cup final?
Like a bit of a fever dream, I'll be honest with you. I thought the whole thing was deeply unusual. Although I did find out, and I don't know if this is how it seems so bizarre that I don't know if my wife has stitched me up or a bit of dodgy information, but so you know Justin Bieber was involved.
Yeah.
Apparently he sold the rights to all his songs or something. So there are certain songs from his back catalogue, and I'm not saying this is a Belieber, was that the thing? If you were
That's the
like
moniker,
the
yeah.
moniker, like a Swiftie for Taylor Swift,
Yeah, yeah.
that he sold like rights to a load of his songs, and therefore at Coachella, I think it was, just ended up playing it all off a laptop because he wasn't allowed to sing them. I don't know, like there's definitely some truth in the laptop thing. I don't know if this is wider circumstances, but yeah, I thought his intervention was particularly
Bit of a buzzkill,
particularly
wasn't it?
depressing. But we did get to see Ronaldo and Ronaldinho flanking
I'm not
Madonna.
convinced that happened. I think that was all AI.
It
It
didn't
was
it
all
didn't seem quite
CGI.
right. It didn't seem. I mean, they got Ronaldo and Ronaldinho's kind of, if it was CGI, if it was AI, toothy grin and vacant expression down to an absolute T. But yeah, the technology has moved on. Yeah, I thought the whole thing was remarkable, and
Yeah.
does beg the question in 5 years' time, in the when the Rugby World Cup goes to the US in
Oh, wow.
2031, what we could be in for.
A sport that is more like the Super Bowl. Yeah. Who knows what could happen?
Someone, yeah, maybe someone we'll talk about in a moment, to fill the Infantino role. Perhaps by then, Jean-Baptiste Aldeguet will be head of of World Rugby. Feels like the right sort of fit.
I want to steal one of I think it was you that said it about the halftime show. Imagine wheeling out Shakira for the halftime show in a World Cup final and not getting her to peel off Waka Waka. Like that is just
What a banger!
sinful, absolutely shameful stuff. Like that could have saved the whole thing.
Yeah,
Maybe that would have stopped Wayne Rooney saying, "I thought it was crap." That was
yeah,
just so good. Best
it was
best
brilliant,
moment of the
wasn't
World
it?
Cup final. The World Cup final was a pretty tough watch, I would say, as was, I think, the second half of the game that we should really be talking about, France versus Japan. I found it tough going, the second half of France v Japan, I have to say. It was, yeah, it
Yeah,
promised a lot this game, and in the build up, and then in bits of the first half, and then it fizzled out quite majorly. I don't think there was a single point scored in like the last
30,
25 minutes, 30
yeah, maybe
minutes.
30 minutes. It was a bit bizarre. I kind of found, so it was 15:45 to France. And you're looking at it like, oh, this feels, because, Japan are and can be a very exciting attacking team, right? We saw that with
Brilliant try.
the brilliant try in the first half from the kick return. Yeah, it felt, I thought it was going to be end up probably 60-30, something like that, with both teams going for it. I actually don't think it was due to necessarily any lack of like attacking endeavor, but there was just a lot of mistakes, weren't there, in that
Yeah.
second half, and it suddenly became a little bit end of term feel, which is fair enough, because it was. Do you know what happened 333 days ago at the Stade Jules Ladumeg?
Start of the National season.
Correct. Massey lost at home to Narbonne. And yeah, some 333 days later, or 331 it would be if we're actually, or 330 rather, for the Japan-France game, the end, I guess, of the professional French rugby season, which is some going. Have a couple of weeks off, lads, and we'll see you bright and early. But to me, it had that slight kind of after the Lord Mayor show vibe to it. I mean, the first half though, there was some fun stuff, some nice rugby played. France's maul. I mean,
Yeah.
Japan, I wouldn't say are renowned for their maul, or certainly not stereotypically. That might be a bit outdated from me, but yeah, they got that moving really nicely. A couple of moments of individual class as well from Luku, Jalibert again. Both of them were fabulous. The two wingers looked, certainly in that first half at least, I thought looked pretty tasty.
Yeah. I feel
Yeah,
like we quite often go kind of what did we learn from this? And I find myself saying nothing because of something, basically the opposition being rubbish. And I'm worried I'm going to sound like a broken record. What did we learn from this? Well, I don't think we could learn. Certainly like what we needed to learn from France in this Autumn Nation series. And we're going to come on to like a depth chart for the French national team. Like the scrum looked good. Montagne looked good. Poirot looked good, but again, maybe it's out, but Japan are not a scrummaging powerhouse or physical set piece team in terms of fronting up at maul time and So like the forwards, the tight five played really well, but it's kind of like it's not South Africa, is it?
Yeah. Yeah, which unfortunately, yeah, it feels like just increasingly, given where South Africa are, like nothing else really counts. But yeah,
I
you're
think
right.
I think the
I think
I
you
think
have
the All
to.
Blacks will test South Africa. I know they're playing
Oh,
them
100%.
1 million
Yeah,
times this summer, but I think the All like had that performance been against the All Blacks, then that's
yeah,
different. And like there are elements of the Australian scrum and maul that are very good, but Japan are a level below, and I think we saw that by how quickly France scored from some of those. Well, certainly in the game, like when the Lamotte try was really early on, but also
Mm.
just how quickly they scored from setting up some of those mauls, and like the Luku one comes off like a massive like driving maul, doesn't it? And
Yeah.
yeah, very well done, France. But I think you can only beat what's in front of you. But I don't know whether yeah what to read into it.
Yeah, I don't think too much. There are two things I did learn though from this fixture. One was via Ben Kaiser on comms, who I did not know Paul Grau's dad played for France.
I didn't know that either. No,
Stefan Grau.
yeah,
And it sounds like he was also a very successful engineer in his own right, which was I really enjoyed. I do think Kaiser is excellent for those little
that's
kind of.
Paul Grau that's the engineer, not
Is
Stefan
it?
Grau. I think it's Paul Grau has a degree in engineering.
I mean, maybe yeah. All right, fair play. I thought you said that Stefan Grau kind of was concurrent careers as a rugby player
Oh
and
well, people can correct us or tell us which way it
engineering
was.
family.
Yeah,
Engineering
but
family.
I'm pretty sure Ben Kaiser said he kept his options open for while he was at
Hmm,
Osh and kind of
fantastic.
completed his degree.
Ah, very good. And obviously, yeah, I mean, it's a nice. I've had my reservations, as you know, about Grau, but it's a really nice story, right? Like, given given the billions of French scrum halves, yeah, and he's still some way down that pecking order just because of the quality of others. But yeah, to get a French cap, and also, I mean, like, what they started 20 of the games in the top 14
Yeah,
this year. Saito obviously was his opposite number at least for the last few minutes was. I think only started two of the games or something like that. So yeah, really cool story. The other thing I learned, there's a brilliant. I don't know if you saw this. I need to be mean to put some screenshots out because it might be my favorite thing from the whole tour. But it's the welcome by some French rugby Japanese fan or some fans of French rugby and the France team in on their arrival in Tokyo at the
I've not seen
airport.
this. I don't think.
Just lots of shirts being signed and things like that. But two real standout moments for me. Like there are some, I'd say some quite niche, the odd niche thing being picked out by these guys. So one was a sign which had a heart on it, and it was Killian and Nolan. So there's a super fan of Killian Tisserand and Nolan Le Garrec somewhere in Tokyo, which just feels like such a, I mean, very discerning
You
taste.
can't, Richard. We can't go down the "come fly with me" route. We
We're
can't start
we're
quoting that.
not. We're
We'll get
not. Rob,
cancelled.
that's you, not me. But like, I mean, Tisserand's been fantastic. So that is someone who knows their rugby. But I was like, you're expecting, I don't know, Luku and Jalibert
Entomac.
and Entomac, and there were definitely some Entomac signs. But I was like, that what a brilliant like combo. And then the other thing, which I've got the screenshot here, is absolutely my favorite. My hero with Fabien Galtier's face superimposed onto Superman. It is so brilliant. Yeah, just amazing fans. They did a very cool kind of like thank you to the stadium, didn't they? The two teams
Yeah,
at the end.
yeah.
Oh, it'd be fun to get out to watch some rugby
It's
in
amazing
Japan.
that like such a nice moment. You go on X and it's immediately turned into like vitriol. Like I can't believe Ireland like didn't come to Japan. Serves them right to get thrashed by the All Blacks. It's like
Chill
I
out,
don't know.
lads.
I had a little scroll through X on Sunday morning, and that like with the Ireland stuff, with England Argentina game, it was just like Jesus. There are some very angry people on here. And actually,
Yeah,
just
have
every
a
like the kind of nice, happy moments from France versus Japan were kind of slightly lost. Bearing in mind our algorithm gives us French rugby stuff, tells you the amount of vitriol from the other
yeah,
games in on Saturday.
some
Yeah.
spiteful folk out there.
Talking of before we move on to depth chart, talking of other games on Saturday, the result that no one wanted to happen in the under 20s World Cup final, South Africa, the baby box, beat France. Well, I don't know how many people wanted France to win, but I don't think anyone wants South Africa to win the under-20s World Cup because that is just incredibly ominous. Oh, have you caught any of this? Oh, I've watched the first half.
I'll be honest, I haven't seen. I've seen a couple of highlights, and that's it. I haven't really,
So
passed me by.
the first half, France played some brilliant attacking rugby. Like it got delayed by 20 minutes, 40 minutes because of rain or thunderstorms or something like that. So it was really, really greasy. In France, some of France's offloading game in the first few minutes, with like bearing in mind the ball was wet and the conditions was brilliant stuff. In the first half, at least, they got absolutely done at scrum time pretty much every time. And it's Langlois, the tight head, who was struggling. I don't know what happened in the second half. I assume Maël Turpin, who's off the cast from Mont-de-Marsan, came on. But Matteo Frisac, who is a brilliant player, he was struggling at scrum time. But the South African loosehead, Reed, I don't know his first name.
Oliver Reed.
Is that his name? He was excellent. Like it just looked like Langlois was like scrummaging at the wrong height. It just kept getting driven upwards. There was a try chalked off just like kind of 35-minute mark from Romeo Bonamatan for obstruction from Kela Tuana, which Tom May on commentary was not particularly happy with. He was kind of like, if you're getting bumped or blocked by a spindly little fly half, that's not really obstruction for me. That was a bit of a turning point because that would have put them 5-3 up, probably 7-3 up, and it didn't get given. And then South Africa that's obviously a penalty. They get down the other end, and Yakeem Ahmed, who looks like an absolute tank and with an absolute rocket of a boot, they got a penalty and they went 6-0 up at half time. So bit of a turning point. I've not seen the second half. I don't know what happened, but that could have swung the momentum. Eventually, South Africa ran out 16 points to 5 winners. South African midfield, like Ahmed at 10 and Adams at 12, is like a proper bowling ball, like a mini to a Sova type thing. And Muller, they're all like, none of them were like that tall. They were all just so stocky. I was like, Jesus. And the big man for France in that was Bastien Rassal, who I think has had a brilliant tournament and looks like a proper defender. I guess from France under 20s is a much better performance than last year. I think they were generally much more convincing than they were last year. I feel like with France under 20s, they kind of do it in like 2-year, like, what's the word? Cohorts almost. Kind of a lot of these guys played last year.
Yeah.
And last year they felt really young compared to a lot of the other teams. And then this year they've all been there. And like the year before that, they had a load of guys who were kind of in their second year. So I don't know how it works like that, whether that's intentional or it's just certain. So every other year they seem to get a good crop of youngsters. What I found, the thing about this is like, I don't know how many of these guys are going to get top 14 experience, because a lot of the good guys, like Romeo Bonard-Martin, whichever way around it is. I feel like that's the wrong way around. I thought that he was Bonard-Martin. Anyway, son of Remy, he can bang. He's an absolute monster. But I don't think he's not going to get any game time at Toulouse. Similarly, like Ibs Sayen, brilliant ball carrier. He's not going to get any time Bordeaux when they've got Willis, Mathieu, Gazzotti, Boxerton, whoever. Kela Tuana moving to Toulon, maybe he will. I've been really impressed with him. Diego Jourde might get some game time, but they've brought in Ben Healy at La Rochelle. Frisac, I think, Matteo Frisac, loosehead from Clermont. Don't know whether he's still going out with Urios's daughter or not. But he's going to be really, really good. He looks really good. And I really like the look of Bastien Rassal, the inside centre. But again, he's a centre from Bayonne. Like, how much game time is he going to get when they've got... Although they've released a load of them, haven't they? Manu is obviously still going to be there, but I think Maury is going. They've got Martok, they've got Mangala, obviously.
See some of these
Rob
guys
Dupree coming in.
Out on loan, potentially.
Yeah, I think there's plenty of... I think Anjis Aramachi, the captain, who's played quite a bit for La Rochelle. I think he will play quite a bit. And I think Melvin Rattez, Perpignan are not blessed with that many talents. And I think Melvin Rattez on the wing will get some good game time at Perpignan, I reckon.
Yeah, it'd be cool to see how some of these...
I think Axel Guillot, the fullback who has played a little bit for Clermont, I think because Clermont's main fullback last year was Hamdawi. So it's not like they've got like an absolute rock star there. They've got a kind of good top 4 or decent top 14 fullback. I think Axel Guillot looks like a proper baller. Yeah.
Won't be long till we can see some of these guys. Hopefully it's just around the corner. Two things I was going to put in the Petit-Fours, but I'll bring them forward because it's relevant to what you're speaking about. So one was Carly Sadie's debut for the Springboks. We talk about dominant scrums. I think it was his second scrum in Springbok colours.
The
Yeah,
one that
obviously
goes back like 5 meters. Yeah.
tore it up for UBB this year. But also he was very emotional during the anthems, which was very, very nice to see. And Romeo Martin Bonnard's dad, you mentioned him there, Remy, has just opened a bakery.
Has he?
Yeah. Yeah, he's just opened
Where?
it is
Toulouse.
I've got it here. No, it's I want to say, is it Vaucluse? Which I
It's
think,
in Provence, right?
yeah, it's kind of, yeah, around that neck of the woods.
Maybe a little loan deal to Provence then
Yeah,
for next year, like
absolutely,
a
absolutely.
la well
Malachi
as has
Hawks and Portaf for
yeah.
last year. Yeah, that would be a nice one. You might have looked into that, and yeah, there you go. Breaking news. Let's call it breaking news, and hopefully it falls
We've
into
confirmed a
place.
fictional signature. Yeah.
Yeah, but so yeah, he's now wheeling out some nice looking patisserie fare, which is
If
good
he's
fun.
not doing some sort of like, I don't know, a cannelé in Bordeaux are done with rum, aren't they? If there's not some sort of brandy cognac bar type thing with Remy
Yeah,
Martin, he's really missed. There's surely he must have had sponsorship deals like in the past or like offers.
you would have thought so. You'd have thought so.
Maybe not. Maybe he's not big enough fish, but who knows?
Righto. Depth chart, Rob. Come on.
I don't think I kind of wanted to go. I was really hoping that I would pick out a player from the under 20s that we could sneak into this depth chart, but I don't think we are. Unlike a couple of years ago when we perhaps had Pasolo Tuolangi or Atasogbe or Gazzotti or whoever, I don't think we are quite at that stage yet.
Yeah.
I don't even know. Frisak would probably be the closest. Guillaume at fullback, maybe one of the tens, but there's so many fly halves, as you will see. Right, so we have done a depth chart. As I said before, we like this to be an audio only podcast, but there will be a video with some visuals of this. We will try and go through one by one, position blow by blow, position by position. I guess just high level, Richard. I think this tour for France, we have a kind of to kind of prep the depth chart. I kind of listened back to some of the stuff we said last year, and I think we said that basically none of them are first choice. Whereas because it's been the Nations Championship, we've seen more first choice players, and I think in a lot of cases they have cemented themselves as first choice. Like, for example, Manny Miafu, Oscar Jegu, Entmac, Atisogbe, and Yoram Mofana. I'd say have kind of all cemented them, and then a lot of them have cemented themselves as the second choice. Like Jalibert is now going to be in the 23, I think we can kind of relatively conclusively say. Brobary, we know, is an international quality player. Nucci, Luku is quite clearly now the second choice scrum half. Piato Malvaca was really good. And then, yeah, there's just some of the positions that have been a bit of a rotational roundabout for France, like the props, the back row, the centres. It's as clear as mud as to who is going to play where. But loose head prop, I've got Jean-Baptiste Gros staying as number one, but I've got Jefferson Poirot on the rise, Moses Alo-Emile on the rise, and Reda Wadi on the rise. So they all played, and I think that leapfrogs them above the likes of Rodrigue Netti, Cyril Bay. I think it's a bad tour for Baptiste Dossio, who had a brilliant season, but didn't seem to have got the call up of, maybe it's because he played in the final and stuff like that, or game time. But I would like to have seen him have another go. I know he struggled last summer, but he is now at best fifth choice prop. And that's before you count Netty, the Six Nations, Cyril Bay, who was in the Six Nations squad. I've got Louis Guélisson from Cast in there. He was called into the training squad, so plenty of options. I think Poirot now is probably second choice, would you say?
I would, yeah. And I think we've kind of felt that for a while before he came back, right? That he would be a brilliant backup to Gross.
Yeah.
And I agree with you. I think Alo-Emile and Wardy I personally think, are better players than Rodrigue Netti at their best. And Wardy also has a lot of injury issues, hasn't he? He's going to Montpellier, is that correct? From
where it all began.
I think.
So
yeah,
no, he started at Béziers.
Be part of a big dominant pack there. So yeah, I think you're probably spot on there.
God, yeah, he'll be duking it out with Adosio and Enzo Four-Letter. So
Four-Letter's gone to
has he?
Perpignan, I think.
Ah, okay. Okay. Gosh, that's some options though. Wardy and Adosio.
Yeah.
Hooker, I would say Marchand is still first choice, but Malvaca is back to properly challenging him, especially given how he played for Toulouse. I wonder if like Marchand suits France better and Malvaca suits Toulouse better. That's probably really hackneyed way of looking at it and cliched, but I think Lamotte has cemented himself as the number three. He was kind of, a lot of people have thought that for a while, but I think he's been really impressive on this
Yeah.
tour. And I would say if they are going to do a younger player, it looks like Massa is on the rise. Barnabé Massa leaps, like Cramont was in the Autumn International squad, nowhere to be seen. He's barely played in the second half of the season. Barlow is, I mean, his form has plummeted. But Lucas Martin was called in as well. But I think Massa feels like the one that's been earmarked for a while. Quite a good player to have as your fourth choice hooker. Tight head. I've got some rankings there. How would you rank the tight head options currently?
I think Montagna is feels like he is the one they want to invest in, right? And he shows enough, more than glimpses, to be fair, more than glimpses. I think he is the one they probably want to be the first choice tight head.
Well, I think they want Tatafu to be the first choice tight head, but Montagna's injury record is considerably better. Well,
Yeah.
I think most people injury record are considerably better than Tatafu.
And I think otherwise you've got, so it's tough. Well, the two of them, Falatea, I think for me the jury is still out just because of the lack of game time he gets.
Yeah.
And I know a lot of that's injury based, but he's also realistically now behind both Tamafuna and Sadie at UBB. Like, is that sufficient to be going into the Six Nations in a World Cup? I'm not convinced it is, but yeah, he feels like the sort of guy whose ceiling when it's right is pretty high, but just too much uncertainty. But he probably is the third choice.
Do you think he's ahead of Bamba then?
Uh
And I guess you're thinking back, Aldegheri.
Probably not ahead of Aldegheri, rightly or
Unfortunately.
wrongly.
Yeah.
But Bamba, they clearly see something that most of us don't. I think Bamba's in that place now where he can almost do no right. He like there are times I think sometimes he'll get the old rugby rama kind of 2 out of 10, and actually he just had an average game and one scrum went down. But there just feels like there's this kind of rap sheet that is just too long. He also, I did see, he gave away more penalties than anyone in the top 14 this year,
Oh, brilliant.
which is excellent. Yeah, it's such a long ongoing conversation, but I don't know. Montagna and Tatafu, fine. The rest is still pretty ropey for me.
Yeah. Setiano was called into the squad. Look, I'm surprised there was no Leclerc. They obviously don't like
Yeah,
him.
that's really good point.
So I've put his stock kind of falling down. He's got now seventh or eighth. He's got Colom, who I think is fit. I think Colom and Bai were fit. They just
Mm.
weren't selected towards the end of the season for Toulouse, and they could have easily gone on this tour if they felt, because Colom played in the Six Nations, didn't he? Got and dropped out. I think he dropped
Yes, he
out,
played, he
and
played
then
one game.
yeah, I mean, Colom is definitely in the same category as Bamba in that people just see what they want to see, and he can do no right. But I know Bamba offers loads in the loose. I think we're both huge fans, rightly or wrongly, of Georges-Henri Colom. I know people think people are huge fans of Bamba in the same way that we're huge fans of Colom, because of the stuff in the loose, some of the stuff. But I just think Colom has I've seen more good scrummaging from Colom. I think it's Montagne's shirt to lose, isn't it? For now, I think
Yeah.
I would like to see them invest in it. I think he's good ball carrier. He tackles, and his scrummaging is no worse than Aldegheri. So for what you get, kind of the upside versus Aldegheri, he has to be the first choice for me. And I would quite
Yeah.
like Aldegheri could easily be third choice. Maybe he is third choice, but Falatea will get more game time because Big Ben's got a nasty injury, isn't he? So
That is true.
hopefully he can get more game. I'm blinded by the fact that Falatea was man of the match when Bordeaux beat Poe at the Stade de Hameau. He was brilliant in that game. Locks. I think Miafu is now number one tight head, and I think we saw against Australia how important he is as a tight head lock. I think Flamont, despite the fact he didn't play loads or start loads in the Six Nations, I still get the sense that Flamont probably,
Oh,
if it
definitely.
gun to the head World Cup final,
Oh,
it's
I
going to be
think
Flamont.
I think by a distance.
But I do think Florian Verhaag had a really good tour, and he's probably now the second in line. Whether they want to use Olive on there or not, I think Verhaag is now certainly ahead of Oradu,
Yep.
and whether Oradu is fourth choice behind Verhaag, Brennan probably behind Oradu because of not touring. Yeah, the tight head side, I think Giard would still be my second choice. Staniforth, though, is obviously in the reckoning. Parlu is in the reckoning. There's a few guys that have been in and around squads that are now, quite further back in the queue, like Roman Taufifenua, I think is still available. Jimmy Maximan, I know he wasn't quite as good at the second half of the season. Tyler Duguay was capped last summer. Good season. They could have called him out. Maybe they didn't want to. But yeah, Staniforth is the big tick or big riser, I guess. I still think Giard would be second choice, and I feel they may still rotate Giard and Miafu anyway.
Yeah.
But the locks are relatively easy to work out. What isn't easy to work out is the back row and what the hell the positions are. I know that we've tried to kind of do it as like one physicality and work rate, one line out, and one ball carrier in the past. What would be going into the autumn internationals? What would be your first choice France back row, assuming Flamand Miafu in the locks or Flam? Yeah, assuming Flamand Miafu.
It's so difficult. I'd probably of the guys who have come through. I think for me, Nucci has more of the ingredients to be a consistent international back rower. I know they're slightly different roles, but I feel he offers more than like a kind of Jegu with some of the other guys. Because I don't think Francois Cross is going to be usurped. And I actually think one of the issues that France do have a little bit is around the breakdown. I wouldn't say Cross is necessarily that sort of like the kind of massive jackal threat, but I think what it did show is that because France don't have that, or certainly maybe not in this squad, or didn't show it that much, that jackal threat. What you do see then is when they're getting turned over, particularly that game against New Zealand. And I think that's one of the things that kind of cross that real stereotypical unseen work, getting to the ruck quickly, securing the ball. So I think I would probably go like Cross, Nucci, and the 8, maybe if he's fit, like Charles Olivon. I think that's a pretty tasty back row. With probably Jegu as off the bench and one other. The one thing I will say, and maybe it's getting a bit too far ahead of myself, but a guy who I don't think we've got on the depth chart currently, who started to show some of his best form, I think I would not be surprised at all to see Greg Aldrich come Six Nations / World Cup.
I've literally just put him in there right at the bottom of the number 8s because when you were talking about jackal threat was kind of...
And I think we both agreed that it was absolutely the right and fair decision for him to be left out of the last couple of squads. Like, he wasn't playing his best rugby, but we did start to see it in that brilliant kind of La Rochelle run, didn't we? And if he does get to that level, then he is, remember we spoke to Ilta Daffith, like he is the best 8 in France.
Yeah.
If he can reclaim it. So, but yeah, I think for me it would be like Cross, Nucci, Olivon.
I think on form, I'd still say I'm going to disagree with you that he's the best 8 in France. I think Olivon is arguably the best 8 in France. If you were to pick one, I know Aldrich has been amazing, but Olivon can do all of that. Perhaps Olivon, what you get from Aldrich at the breakdown, you don't get from Olivon, but from Olivon you get more pace, you get more dynamism, you get better line out athlete. I think it's depending on which way you want to go. I don't think it's quite as clear cut as Aldrich is at their best, the best number 8. I would like to see a back row of Nucci, Jegu, Olivon with Giard and Boudon on a 6-2 bench. Boudon. And Giard is obviously covering 8 and tight headlock. Boudon arguably covering loose headlock, but also kind of all 3 of the back row positions. What I think it will be Cross, Jegu, Olivon with probably Boudon or Nucci and Giard on the bench.
Yeah.
Boudon's injury record is starting to hamper him quite a bit because he's just not getting enough game time consistently in a row. I think Tisserand has been a big riser. If they want a like for Jegu, Tisserand's, he's not got the pace of Jegu, but Tisserand is there. I think Olivon is the kind of Olivon is like Jegu with extras, isn't he? Like just more physicality. I would like them to see if they don't go Olivon and they don't go Aldrit, I would like them to see Giard at 8. I would like I'd happily see a back row of Nucci, Olivon, Giard. I think that'd be really cool. I would also like to see Waki back in there at some point. I know his injury kind of came at a bad time, and I think they need Fisher in the squad as a kind of point of difference as a jackler. Where do you? I don't think it's been a good tour for Kapia, who in terms of ceiling has it all. It's not been a
Yeah.
good tour for Timo Mathieu because he's not. So the kind of I think there were 7 players that toured that were in that didn't play. So Parlu was one of them, but I think he's had loads of minutes, so you can kind of understand that. But I think it's a good sign that he's back, given his age. Whereas guys like Mathieu Kapia, I feel like that's a missed up when you're getting overtaken by Boschaton and Tisserand and Rumat. I think that's not a good sign for Mathieu. They're kind of all of the same ilk.
I found the Ruma one like pretty odd, to be honest, because I don't think he's going to go into the World Cup, and I think
Yeah.
a Matthew or excuse me, Kapia could.
Where do
Yeah,
you
I don't know.
stand?
I think there's also Dane reading a little bit too much into like
Yeah.
particularly the last the Japan game is the one you maybe expect to see a little bit more rotation, right? And I don't know if that's like a continuity thing or they don't quite trust some of these guys. Yeah, hard to know.
I think in the backs they wanted to try out combinations, didn't they? Which is less of a thing when it's a
Yes.
back row. Where do you stand on Gazzotti?
I love him. I think he's a fantastic player. I don't think I've seen enough to suggest he kind of breaks that ceiling of the 5 or 6 best back rows. Like work rate amazing. I don't think any lack of industry. And I think he is like I think he showed glimmers of being a international quality back row, but I don't think I can't see certainly at the moment, and that could change very quickly. Like people don't tend to play international rugby and become worse players. But I just don't think he breaks past basically all the guys that we've mentioned for me.
I, I've seen a lot of people say they're really impressed with him, but I think his work rate is really good. I think his actual impact. I just don't think he's had the. I don't see how he has the impact in a game of a Nucci or Jegu. And I know it's a slightly different role, but I can't help but think more meters would have been made ball in hand, or yards after contact would have been made by Giard, or maybe even like a Waki or someone like that if he had them at number 8. I just don't see the impact. Yeah, like maybe he's probably not going to be ahead of Jelonch if Jelonch is fully fit, but I would perhaps he's kind of in that sort of mold of like, are you an 8? Are you a 6? Are you a 7? Your work rate's great. You carry a lot. Sometimes your carrying is amazing and you bust through tackles. Sometimes it's just a bit meh. I feel like he's kind of a bit like Jelonchi, which just feels like the most damning with faint praise that you can give an up-and-coming back row. Maybe that's a bit harsh, but I just haven't
Anthony
seen it.
Gelon, she's played 60 games for France and won everything there is for his club. Like the worst players to be compared to.
Yeah, yeah. You're always looking for a bit more, though, aren't you? And I think I'm still looking for more from Gazzotti. Scrum half, Dupont is number 1, Luca is number 2, Legaric is number 3, despite his dodgy box kick against the All Blacks in that final minute. Do you need more than that? Is Grau overtaken Serran?
No, I also think Jeannot. I'm not quite
You
sure
think
what
Joe
happened
is,
there, but
yeah.
Jeannot and Serran, then Grau for me.
Yeah, I think you think Jeannot's ahead of Serran.
Oh no, sorry, Serran then Jeannot.
Yeah. So Grau is then 6th choice, which puts the likes of Kuyu, Carbonneau, Darbagna fighting it out for 7th choice scrum half, which is when you've got someone like Baptiste Kuyu as your seventh best option. I know he's had his injuries, but Jesus, what luxury. Fly half, I think Roman Ntamack is number 1. As good as Jalabert was against the All Blacks, as good as Jalabert has been on this tour, as good as he was in Six Nations, I think this tour has proven, because Ntamack started at fly half, does that mean for you that Roman Ntamack is the first choice fly half?
For me, no, but maybe it does for Gautier. I think Mathieu Jalabert is currently France's best player. Him and Miafu.
Yeah.
Whether Ntamack being 10 is conclusive proof that Jalibert needs to slot in around him, or they felt Jalibert was slightly better suited in that 10-15 to the, taking the fullback role. I honestly don't know. I think the thing that, because Ramos isn't going to get nudged from 15,
fullback,
right?
yeah.
I think you've got. I mean, it's an amazing position to be in. Like, it's been really nice seeing Ntamack back to something near his best form in the last 3 or 4 months. For me, it would be Jalibert, just because I think his impact on games is outsized, and also there's international rugby is high scoring, the best fly halves in the world, and it's not that Ntamack can't do this stuff, but it's Sasha Feinberg and Ngomazulu, it's Finn Russell, it's Jalibert for me, like the guys who are taking teams on that are increasingly prominent. So for me, it would be Jalibert. I think you mentioned it earlier. Like, would he be guaranteed in the 23? Like, I don't know if there is any guarantee of that because of the 6-2 splits. And do you need someone who's a bit more, or do you say ultimately that he becomes if Ntamack does start, he becomes your 23? Because if you need to chase a game, like, who's even out of position, who has a bigger impact, him or like a Gorge or a Deporter or Brobery or whoever it is in that 23 shirt.
And they can, if they really need to. I guess you don't get the centre cover, but if they really need to, they could shift Ntamack to 12. He hasn't played that much recently, but he can do it. Yeah.
Who knows?
I'd love it to be Jalibert, and I would have Jalibert as my first choice. And I probably, in that scenario, I probably wouldn't have Ntamack in the 23. But I just get the sense that come November, it's going to be Dupont and Ntamack.
Yeah. Yeah, very possibly.
And I still think Ramos would be their third choice. Hastoy is the one in behind that, but I think there's a big drop off between Ntamack, Jalibert, and Ramos and Hastoy and Desperez and Lebrun. Desperez and Lebrun, talented players, but they're a long way off. Those kind of guys. Centres, I think Yoram Mofana is the nailed on inside centre now. He's returned to form. I was ready to bin him off after the Six Nations, but I don't know who the first choice 13 is. Imagine if they end up with Pierre-Louis Barassi at 13 in November. It'd just be like, come on, lads.
Yeah.
I would like it to be Deporter. I think Brobery is probably second choice in both centre positions.
Yeah.
Because for me, his best position is still 12, but we've seen a lot of him at 13 in this tour, and he was good. I think he's better defensively at 12. I would put Gaeton ahead of Barassi. He toured, but didn't play. One of the other players didn't feature. August Caddo didn't feature, so I think Gorge could be ahead of Gaeton maybe as a 12 and 13.
Yeah,
I don't know how many starts Cavan Gorge is going to get. He's going to get a lot of 23 jerseys, quite probably. Maybe he's the new Emilian Gaeton in the...
Yeah. I think I'm.
Do you think Brobery is now the first choice 13, or do you think
he might well be? Again, I think if it was to me, I think we're kind of aligned on this. Deporter, particularly with Mofana, if he's fit, I just think he's such an amazing player. I absolutely love him. I think you've almost got a situation where you've got two guys who are second and third choice across both positions with Brobery and then Gorg.
Yeah.
Arguably, there could be an argument with versatility that Gorg would usurp Brobery onto the bench if it was a 6-2 split. But yeah, I mean, it's been written, I think it was in the rugby paper, I can't remember which journalist it was, but spoke about the France's centres, and it's an area of real proper strength in terms of, I think, you could, I think if you went into a World Cup semi-final with your sixth choice Gael Fiku, you'd still probably have a pretty good chance of winning that game. Like, they've got such brilliant depth there, combinations, options as well as to like how they want those guys to play. Yeah, I think it's really exciting and intrigued to see if maybe we will see like Brobery and Deporter at some point together, and that'd be a lot of fun as well.
Mofana, Deporter, Brobery, Gorge, Gaeton, and August Caddo are all 25 or under.
The Mofana blows my mind. If someone gun to head, I'd have been like, he's 30.
Isn't he also he's also Falatea's uncle or something like that? Or is it the other way around?
That I have absolutely no idea.
One of them is the uncle of the other.
Amazing.
I can't imagine it's Mofana. Surely Mofana is not an uncle. Anyway, yeah, I think they want, I think Guillard and Deporter, they played in the All Blacks game shows that they are highly rated. And I know
Yeah.
Deporter was on the bench for that, but they've both had pretty nasty injuries back end of the season. The fact that they haven't been seen since the All Black game, I think, is probably because of that. Whereas they were like, can we get half an hour out of them against the All Blacks and try and win that test?
Yeah.
I think that's kind of why Deporter and Guillard went on tour. Wingers, Biel Barret is obviously number one, but Grandidier has to be second choice left wing, depending on how they do it. Atisogbe now, I think, is up there with not quite as nailed on as LBB, but I think he has to be the right wing. If LBB got injured, they would probably go Penaud and Atisogbe, I think. Assuming Penaud was fit, I think that's a good return for Penaud, even though it was only half a game of rugby. Dreyan knocks down the order, and Badiang, are we going to see him ever again? Like, I just can't see how a lot of these guys get in. The likes of Max Spring, Tom Spring, Furte toured but didn't play. I think we're more likely to see Arfoy than on the left wing or right wing than either of the Springs, than Furte or Mbadiang. I think they quite like Arfoy, and I think he was good in that England game.
I think Furte at some point.
I think Furte's versatility gives him a chance. Yeah, spare a thought for Matisse Lebel and Teddy Thomas.
Yeah,
and then fullback, I think it's a bad news for both Springs, but Barret as well. The fact that it's Ramos. It's then probably Atisogbe. We saw that in the Six Nations. And if it's not Ramos, it might actually well be Mathieu Jalibert now. I think we've seen that. Bad news for Max Spring, who started at 15. And then I think the injury to Penaud kind of perhaps slightly scuppered his chances because it meant that he moved to the wing. And had he been at fullback instead of Hastoy in that game, maybe that game would have panned out slightly differently. Yeah. Any other? I feel like 15, there's like options that I've not thought about. Axel Guillot. There you go. Chuck that one in. Melvin Jaminet, obviously.
Yeah, and I think there's...
Furte maybe gets maybe he's ahead of one of them. I don't know.
I think it's one of those positions where your kind of third choice down comes from other parts of the squad, whether it's the wingers or the fly halves. Yeah.
I think Hastoy is going to keep getting in squads as a result, because I think he is actually an all right option at 15. And he's actually played right for France whenever he's I know he had a bit. He kind of got jettisoned.
Certainly more recently.
Yeah, they all had a bit of a shocker in the World Cup against someone, didn't they? And a load of them jettisoned. Yeah. Right. Well, that was the France depth squad. Conclusions: centres stacked, and they're all really young. No change in the half backs, where it's going to be Toulouse. Back row's probably going to be all Toulouse. Pack's probably going to be all Toulouse, unless it's
front row could be all Toulouse.
Front row probably by Marchand. Aldeguerri come World Cup.
Georges-Henri Colomb.
Oh, yeah.
Come on, keep banging the drum.
I think it's a good tour for France generally, though. It's proven, the fact they went a bit more competitive with their team, proven that a lot of these guys are viable options.
Definitely.
Any other conclusions on the tour, Richard?
No, just didn't realise there was such a Fabien Galtier fan sleeper cell in Tokyo, but now we know. All right.
Talking of tours, we can come back in a bit and look at another tour.
V2, back in a sec.
Imagine buying your kid a toy only to find the batteries aren't included, or buying furniture but missing the tools to build it. Frustrating, right? Now imagine the exact same feeling, but you're paying way more. That is what buying business software usually feels like. Fragmented, disconnected, and incredibly expensive. Odoo completely changes that. Odoo is a complete, fully integrated business suite where all your apps actually talk to each other. We're talking automated lead routing for your sales team, seamless AI integration, and intuitive point-and-click website builder. It's everything your business needs to scale, saving you time, headaches, and money. Stop piecing your software together. Go to odoo.com. That's odoo.com to learn more.
Okay, Rob, you've not content with last week and go one. You've got a second leg, the home straight to your Tour de France rugby crossover quiz. I was pretty happy with how I went last week. So
I think Elgin got 7.
Okay,
albeit he did it in the press room at Royal Birkdale. So he had the Paddington platform prep issues of kind of distraction. Ilted Daffis said he got 6. So I think you won basically. You beat all of the UK in that quiz last week, Richard.
Okay.
I'm not going to lie. this second half of the tour has been slightly trickier because it doesn't go through the hotbeds of rugby around Toulouse and around the Pyrenees and around Bordeaux.
Okay.
It has generally gone through the Cantal, through the Massif Central, up to the Alps. So there are 8 questions, which symbolically I think we had 8 before because that is the most amount of Tour de France wins still, in my eyes, for Lance Armstrong. Pogacar wins this year. He will technically get the record.
Okay.
There is not a question, a quiz question in this quiz, Richard, for the one that I would love to, that I'm going to be asking everyone I see over the next week. Who was the last international football team to beat Spain?
Oh, I do actually know this.
Go on, Richard. What is the answer?
It was Scotland.
Yes. Yes, it was.
You're a Scottish football fan now, are you?
Always have been. Always have been.
Okay.
I am also English, though. You know, you're allowed dual nationality these days. But Manny Miafi probably sports Australia in the Ashes, doesn't he?
Yeah, probably. When France aren't playing.
Yeah. Okay, so we're going to start where we left off in Aurillac. So stage 10, they had the rest day in the Cantal, and they started in Aurillac. Stage 10 started in Aurillac. Which current top 14 fly half, who has been capped by France, came through the academy at Stade Aurillacois and made his first senior appearance for them? That's question number 1.
Okay.
There's a few kind of that ilk, basically. Stage 10 started in Aurillac, and stage 11 finished in Nevers, so the following day. Both Aurillac and Nevers have been stalwarts of Pro D in recent years, but which side most recently played in France's top division?
Oh my God.
Between Aurillac and Nevers, which one was at the top table most recently?
Wow. Okay.
50-50 at least. You can't complain about that one being hard.
Yeah.
Another one on Nevers, because I was really trying to shoehorn in something. I was really hoping there was like a rugby game hosted at Nevers Mangicourt, but alas, no, or like a connection to Mangicourt, because the stage 12 started on the outskirts of Nevers in Mangicourt, which is the French F1. I didn't realise no longer exists. It got binned a few years ago. But question number 3 is Nevers related. Which Nevers player recently made their international debut in the Nations Cup, not the Nations Championship? Which Nevers player recently made their international debut in the Nations Cup? Would you like a clue? You look puzzled by that. Would you like a clue on the country? I think country might give it away. The Nations Cup is not what France have been playing in. It's the tier below.
I'm trying to remember the guys. Well, I might be wrong. Was it for Zimbabwe?
No.
Oh, okay. I'm miles off.
Would you like a country?
Go on.
USA.
I do know who it is, yes. Very good.
Stage 15 skirted its way around the town, around the Swiss border. It skirted its way around, basically a lot of it has this year, but skirted its way around the Swiss border and went through the town of Valzerone in the former commune of Bellegarde-sur-Valzerine. In Valzerone is where the Plan des Sports d'Arlord is located. This is the home ground of which National de side? There was some clues in the wording at the start of that question.
Could you repeat the question?
Stage 15 skirted its way around the Swiss border and went through the town of Valzerone in the former commune of Bellegarde-sur-Valzerine. This is where the Plan des Sports d'Arlord is located, which is the new or most recent home of which National de side?
Okay.
More Alpine Stadium trivia fun in question number 5. Stage 17 starts in Chambéry. Stage 17, I think, is Wednesday, tomorrow. Home of the Chambéry-Savoie Stadium, which was the winning name in a public vote. What was the name that came second in the public vote? So Chambéry, the home stadium, is Chambéry-Savoie Stadium,
I think,
which was it won in a public vote. But what came second in the public vote?
Okay, I think I'm in the roughly right ballpark.
If Elgin, I was messaging Elgin about this, and there's like, oh well, if there is a part 2, there'll be an article reference, one of your articles reference, and he's like, to be honest, if I'm more likely to remember stuff I've not written an article about. Stage 6. Oh no, it's not stage 6. Question number 6. Stage 18 goes through Sessans, Seysins, a suburb of Grenoble. The rugby club of Sessans has become known recently as a little bit of a hotbed of talent, thanks mainly to being the formation club for which player for France and Union Bordeaux-Bègles?
Cessans.
It's a suburb of Grenoble.
Okay, cool.
Stage 18, by passing largely through the outskirts of Grenoble, also passes through another suburb of Grenoble called Le Pont de Clé, spelt C-L-A. That's not going to help you. Which is the birthplace of an Italian international who started his rugby career at Grenoble. Who is he? Current Italian international.
Okay.
Question number 8, the final one. The final stage obviously finishes in Paris, and this year passes through Versailles and through the town of, and I had it up a minute ago, Le Chesnay, which is an affluent area of France, and Versailles is an affluent area of France. Which current top 14 player, capped by France, who has played his whole career in the capital, started his rugby at Rugby Club Versailles before moving to Massy and then to a top 14 club. So it's gone through whatever I said it was, Chesnay and Versailles, but current top 14 player, capped by France. Okay, that is the 8 questions.
Okay.
So 21 stages, but we've only managed 18 questions. It got tougher, / ran out of time. Question number 1, the fly half who started at Aurillac. Do you know who that is?
You said there's French cat.
Yeah. Would you like an indicator or a clue?
My initial thought was Antoine Ocan. He's not being capped for France. So I put Hugo Cerns, because I know he's been in squads, but I can't remember him getting capped. So I don't know.
So they are a player that has played in Paris, but they are no longer in Paris. They've been capped in the last 2 years. Does that help?
Last 2 years.
They moved from Aurillac to a Parisian club, but are now no longer in Paris.
No,
nothing.
Done me.
Joris Segons.
Joris Segons started his career at Aurillac, didn't? Yeah, no idea. Very good.
Question number 2: which one of Aurillac and Nevers played most recently in the top division?
I've gone because I think whenever this would have been is a long time ago. I'm going to guess. I think Aurillac are an older club, so I've gone with Aurillac.
So Aurillac last played in 2000. I think they lost a play when it moved from the top 16 to the top 14. They lost a playoff, a barrage or access match against the mighty team from the Bayern Section Paloise. So they could have been in like 2004, I think. But I think their most recent year was 2000, 2001, something like that. Nevers have never played in the top 14. So there you go, or any of the top division. The best position they've managed is like semi-finals of Pro D2. Question number 3: which Nevers player recently made their international debut in the Nations Cup?
I should have got this before the clue. It's Perry Mayo, who apparently has been excellent for the USA. Yeah,
he scored. I know he scored a try. I don't know. Oh, he certainly scored a try at the weekend. But yeah, and I think his dad's American or his mum's American and his dad's Irish or something like that. But he's born in France, so
nice.
Yeah, like a little Antoine Frisch situation. He could play for anyone. Stage 15 skirted its way around the Swiss border. Went through the town of Valzeron, which is the location of which National 2 side.
Right, so I know this isn't right because this is the place in the Dordogne, but does it sound like Sarlat?
It does sound like Sarlat. Well, a little bit like Sarlat.
It's the team that when we went to Vannes, we saw the Rennes team were about to make a massive journey from Rennes to whichever, I think is it the first Swiss club to play in the French?
It is. I will give you half a mark for that.
I can't remember the name.
Rugby Club Servette.
Servette, that's it.
So they've both at their previous stadium, I think, was also in France. So even though they're kind of based in Geneva, technically, their home games are in France. And like the one in Valzeron is quite new. Certainly on Google, it looks like almost AI, like that sort of new. Yeah. Question number 5: Chambéry Stadium. What came second in the public vote?
Is it the Stade des Elephants?
It is the Stade des Elephants.
Yes,
but they went with Chambéry Savoie Stadium. That was thanks to an article on Chambéry from a while back from Elgin Alderman. Question number 6, which I'm going to say it now because it won't give away. Which global superstar started his rugby at Cessans?
Assume it's not Samuel Biel-Biarré. It's his brother Louis.
Louis Biel-Biarré, yeah. But I think Samuel Biel-Biarré did also start there. And I thought Gazzotti, but Gazzotti was somewhere else. Okay. I was trying to find. I think there's a few that have come through there, but the only one I could find was I knew Biel-Biarré had. Le Pont de Clé is the birthplace of which Italian international?
Capozzo.
It is Ange Capozzo, yeah. And then who is the kind of princely looking Parisian that started in the affluent suburb of Versailles that plays in the top 14 club and has been capped by France?
We went through Massey, so I went with Cameron Wacky.
Incorrect. It's Leo Barre.
Okay.
Yeah.
I missed that. I know. Yeah, Wacky was as soon as you said affluent suburb, then I think I missed that out. I know Wacky is from one of the slightly grittier parts of town.
It was kind of where I did try to say that Chesnay and Versailles were affluent, because I know a lot of, like, Barre looks posh, doesn't he? Like, he looks like he's had a middle class upbringing, whereas a lot of the guys from Massey, like Bastereau and Wacky, have come from pretty rough.
Used to bully people like Leo Barre.
Yeah. Poor old Antoine Frisch and Leo Barre getting bullied by.
Quite right too. All right. Okay.
So what was the final summation on that? Yeah. So you got 1, 2, 3, 2.5, 3, 4, 5. 5.5 out of 8.
I'll take that.
Did I get that right? If I did that all right. You got that one right.
Not too disastrous.
Yeah, not too bad, Richard. Well done.
Yeah, bit of wind assistance, but we got there.
Even if you're using topical prescription creams for your child's eczema, you still might be hearing this. That relentless itching that makes them want to scratch and scratch and scratch and scratch. When their moderate to severe eczema isn't well controlled, it's time to ask about Dupixent, dupilumab, which isn't a cream, steroid, or immunosuppressant. Dupixent helps kids as young as 6 months stay ahead of their eczema with clearer skin and noticeably less itch. Severe allergic reactions, including skin reactions, can occur. Get help right away for face, mouth, tongue, or throat swelling, wheezing, or trouble breathing. Tell your doctor right away of new or worsening eye problems like eye pain or vision changes, skin symptoms, joint aches and pain, or a parasitic infection. Don't change or stop other treatments without talking to your doctor. Dupixent helps your child feel the heal. Ask your child's eczema specialist. Visit Dupixent.com or call 1-844-DUPIXENT.
All right.
Petit-Fours.
Petit-Fours. I've already mentioned Remy Martin's foray into the world of bakeries and bakery franchises. I don't have a huge amount more, to be honest with you, but anything that's caught your eye?
Well, just another Tour de France related thing. So quite famously, and when they do Alpe d'Huez, which is one of the big climbs, and I think they've got it coming up at the weekend, they have like a Dutch corner. So like on the climb up, it's like everything is orange. They paint the road orange. And in stage 10 in the Cantal, they had Col de Pertus, and the local rugby team made their own little Dutch corner. Their colours are orange and black. And so they're orange and black checkerboard colours. And I haven't actually written down the name of the club, but they did their own little Dutch corner and were basically just having a piss up. It looked pretty rowdy on the kind of orange checkerboard corner that they decorated, which is quite like the local rugby club. Right, we're gonna paint some road and get a bit loose and cheer everyone on. Basically, have an Aldea. Quite like that.
Very good.
Did you want to touch on Nissa? Or was it all rumours at the moment?
Yeah, should we do it next week? Because it feels like there might be, in a week's time, there might be a little bit more clarity on what's gone on at Nissa Rugby. Let's discuss it and Aldegay's latest shenanigans.
Bloke who nearly took Biarritz into administration by promising some funding from somewhere, and then the funding never materialised, has essentially done the same at Nissa. Yeah,
it all sounds a little bit strange, but we'll go through it next week. The only other thing I had, which is not related to anything recent, but a guy was called out by David Flatman as part of a formerly far more imposing Argentinian scrum back in the day. Do you remember Omar Hassan, who played for Toulouse? Argentinian prop, played for Argent and Toulouse. Well, it's just I haven't heard that name for ages. Was looking into it. A couple of cool things. His last ever game was 2008 top 14 final. Played the full 80 and they won, which is quite the way to go out, particularly as a prop. But he also went on to become a professional baritone opera singer, releasing multiple albums. So
imagine how much fun that would be in the changing room.
Very talented guy. Quite the post rugby career. Get
him singing Don Les Yeux d'Emily and
in the bodega at Stade Ernest Vallon.
Yeah.
Very good.
Good. Yeah, I don't think I've got anything else. We do have next week though, Richard,
Yes.
the Golden Burst, and we've also got. I've realised we have not reviewed the predictions from the whole season.
Oof.
So we have who has come out on top in Pro de Deux, the weekly predictions, the thing we commit to doing every week, whether we put that much effort. Well, no, I think I'd probably put more thought into it than you do because I'm just more of a nerd. But yeah, whether the Richard Croney hunch or the Rob Graham deep analysis wins out in Pro de Deux and top 14 predictions, we will have the results of that next week. I know everyone's on. That's what everyone really wants. They don't want to know who we think is the best player of the season and stuff like that. They want which of Rob and Rich knows more about top 14 and Pro de Deux.
Yeah,
and that is the ultimate conclusion.
And the answer is
neither of us.
But yeah, join us next week. Golden Burst, always good fun. It'll be our last one of the series before we're back. Probably, I don't know, in like a week or two afterwards, because it swings back around so quickly. Mate, follow us.
We're getting an extra week than most people. A lot of rugby podcasts, they're done now. They're done. Rugby pods have had their season finale. Yeah, we've got one more week to give you. I feel like as the sport's dying down, we can all have a chill out. But the dying a sports podcast next week,
dying embers of people's interest in rugby. We're scraping the barrel, so please join us for that. Follow us at Rosbiff Rugby everywhere. Drop us a note, rosbiffrugby@gmail.com. And otherwise, we're done for another week. I've been Richard, that's been Rob. We've been the Rosbiff Rugby podcast. Au revoir.
Au revoir.